Hi guys, I'm back. Okay, so we're straight, we're up and down, we're not sideways, we're not the wrong way. It's always trials and tribulations. And then my dear friends, Lisanne and Megan and Kat all decided to help me out and give me a tripod that I posted a picture of on Invisible Shackles. I was like, I love my friends, look what they sent me. And then I had to try to get it to work while my phone was going the wrong way. Oh, so much better now. So hi Anna, Susie, Lisa, Mama, Sammy. How are you guys tonight? I've been meaning to make this live video for 2 weeks now. Wrote the script, have to use my iPad because I have to put the, Mama, I have to put the hair in the way. Gross. I have to put the magnet on the back of my iPad so I can put it on my tripod. I love you guys so much. I'm so excited. Look at this. Phone is not moving. But the light is my fault completely. Anyway, so I wrote this script. Hey, Lauren. And I haven't looked at it since. So we're going to probably have to go off notes. But that's okay. No problem. Oh, Susie's having a rough week. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Hopefully we can get some sisters on here that can chat with you back and forth and support you because I know you lean on that a lot. Oh, the volume's down. No problem. Anna's so excited to see Lauren. So you guys, I think it was last week or the week before, I posted asking for video ideas. I love to make videos, but I don't necessarily always know what you want or need to hear about. So many of you wrote back and gave me the most amazing ideas. And I actually had written a long script about one. It was one of the first ideas that I got. And then a few people commented and they were like, yes, I need that. Yes, I need that. So I wrote that all out. I wrote it as a blog post. It was so long, in detail, did a ton of research. And then I didn't get a chance to get online for a couple of days because things have been a little bit crazy. As you guys know, we're getting ready to relaunch SPWF, so it's a lot of work on our end. The volunteers have been working tirelessly. As always, they're amazing. But hey, Cody. But and then I had a visit in between. I went this weekend, so it's been a little bit rough to get online and to do a live video. But in the meantime, I had a whole bunch of people go through an experience that all at the same time, they don't even know each other, and they were texting me or emailing me or kick messaging me, and I figured, let me interrupt that other post and let me talk about this subject. It's been on my heart. It happened over and over again. And it's something I want to address in the moment while it's happening for my friends and maybe some other of you guys that I haven't heard from. So let's do that. But actually, let's tell you what it is. In this video, we're going to talk about getting to the point of the grieving process where you're angry or going in and out of anger throughout the duration while he's gone. Because anybody who goes through or experiences a loss goes through a grieving process. So somebody had asked me, they were like, what do you mean I'm grieving? Nobody died. Why would you say that? And they were it was kind of an aha light bulb, but it was kind of I feel guilty for grieving. So I want to let you off the hook and let you know that absolutely you should not feel guilty about that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me introduce myself. Hey, Junie. Let me introduce myself really quick, and then we can get started. But for those of you guys that are new or you don't know who I am, or this is the first video that you're catching, first of all, comment so I can call you out and say hello and introduce you to the rest of our crew. But my name is Ro. I am the founder of Strong Prison Wives and Families, and I use my years of experience to help prison wives and family members set goals, attain them, feel empowered, supported, encouraged, educated, not only during the duration of the sentence, but well beyond when he gets home. So you could set goals, you could reach them together, and we can together as a group not only support each other, but break that recidivism rate. He can get out and stay out, and you can go on and live happily ever after, because nobody deserves to be a chronic prison wife and to be on the hamster wheel of the, or I should say the revolving door of this life. Hi, Sarah. Sarah's on. And also, hi, Mary. So glad you guys are on. Hi, Brittany. I'm so glad you guys are hopping on because this is a really important topic. So, why don't we do this? It's better to think of anger as more of a state than a stage. Because to me, a stage, I'm sorry, I really need to lean on my notes, you guys, because like I said, I wrote this a couple of weeks ago and I put a lot of work into it and I did a lot of research. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you all of the information the right way. So a stage implies that it's going to happen in like a chronological order. It's going to happen in a certain succession. And then it feels as if when you say there's a stage and it's going to happen, it feels as if there is an end date, there's a final point for it, and then you move into a different stage. It feels like eventually it'll be completely behind you, but that's not true. Right? Because I just said earlier before I introduced myself that a lot of us feel as if we go in and out of the anger process, and then something can maybe just set us off one day and then you're fine another day. So think of it like a tornado watch. When one is issued, weather conditions in the atmosphere are favorable for a tornado. So grief puts us under an anger watch, meaning the circumstances in life are favorable. They're favorable conditions to put us into a state of anger, to throw us into a fit of anger if everything lines up perfectly. Like I was just talking to one of my girlfriends and I had announced on Facebook that I had a friend whose husband had a life sentence and he got out. He came home. He was granted parole. And if you're on here, I'm so excited for you. I'm not going to call you up by name. I don't know if she wants everybody to know yet or if it's an open thing. But I was so beyond happy for her, basically doing backflips. And then another sweet girlfriend, one of my closest friends, texted me on the side and was like, no, really, like, are you okay? And I told her, I go, no, genuinely, I am so happy and I'm so excited for her. And I know that one day it's going to be my turn. And she and you guys all will be celebrating with me. And I genuinely feel that. But I was joking with her and I was like, really good timing, because if it was last week or if it was in 2 weeks, I'd probably be a very different row. In other words, I'd be under an anger watch, not because of her, because of, you guys know my depressing situation. And for anybody that doesn't know, Adam, my husband, is serving a 213-year sentence where he committed robbery with a gun. It wasn't used. It was just on him. And you can learn more about him and his crime and his sentence at helpfreeadam.com, but I'm not going to spend time getting into it. But I always feel the need to explain that. Anyway, so the conditions would be favorable for me to be pissed off and angry if I was hormonal, or if, let's say, I was dieting, or I just hadn't eaten in a certain amount of time and I was starting to get, you guys know, hangry, right? So I was not under an anger watch. Everything was fine. It was a perfectly clear day outside. So just think of it like that and take a lot of that pressure off yourself to feel as if you're still angry, days, weeks, months, years down the road. It's normal. It's okay. It's a state that you can be in if conditions are favorable for you to get there, but know that you'll come out of it. So, as I said earlier, and I just want to reiterate for people that are coming on or people that are watching this on the replay, yes, I did say hangry, and I should probably eat a Snickers. No, I'm not hangry right now. But anger is, grief happens when you experience a loss. It doesn't necessarily have to be a loss to death. So don't guilt yourself if you feel like you shouldn't go through a grieving process because you haven't lost somebody to death. And that's saved and sacred for those people who are hurting more than you because their loved one they have to visit at a cemetery and not at a prison. Both experiences are terrible, and I'm grateful every single day that I can still touch and speak to my loved one despite our, the crummy circumstances around our relationship. But that doesn't make it any less difficult for you to go through this grief of him being ripped out of your life. Or if you're MWI, the grief of the life that you long for and the life that you have put aside, the loss of that life as you want it right now because he's gone. So take the pressure off of yourself. Stop feeling guilty. Stop beating yourself up. You're allowed to grieve and you're allowed to be angry at points. Don't judge your feelings. You're not being weak. You're not being dramatic. You're not being overly sensitive or overreacting to acknowledge that you're in a state of grief. And again, that happens for MBI, which I just learned, met before incarcerated. I'd never heard that term before, but I love it because I love everything. And MWI meant while he was already incarcerated, or RWI, another phrase I learned recently, reunited while incarcerated. Who knew? There were so many, what do you call those things? Acronyms for our life. So there are going to be times during, I love all the hearts. There's going to be times during the natural grieving process where you feel frustrated, you feel trapped, and you feel hurt. I am guaranteeing that every single one of us has felt one of those some point, and probably all of those at some point, and probably all of those at the same time at some point during this sentence, during this time in your life. And you know what? It could be a loss over a different relationship. You know, maybe you're, I love the laughs, a loss over a child that doesn't speak to you, a loss over a job, a loss over maybe you broke up with your person and you're still in the group. I know we had a couple people whose relationships, the guys came home and the relationship just didn't work out. So you could be grieving that as well. This goes to any loss anywhere in your life. So it's common to misdirect those emotions, the emotions of feeling trapped, the emotions of feeling hurt and frustrated. And when pain dominates those feelings, it's natural to take them out on the wrong person and blame the wrong person. Give me some emojis for that. How many of us, I do it all the time, take out our emotions on the wrong person and blame the wrong person when a lot of times you know where the blame should go, and a lot of times you know that you're taking the emotions out on the wrong person, but it's just the way that you react, thanks for those emojis, in the moment due to the emotions. So being angry is a way of releasing energy. It's a way to get all of that emotion and that energy out. And of protesting the loss that doesn't make sense or seem fair. Hello? Is it fair that any of us are in this position? But we are. We chose to be here, not going down the victim road. But you're angry because you experienced a loss that doesn't seem fair. And it doesn't make any sense in your head, even though you know what happened and it's totally like X, Y, and Z in the sentence and, you know, court, that all, you know, the process, the legal process, and you know, even though it was unfair, it makes sense why he is where he is, but just all of it doesn't make sense to you. Even though deep down you probably understand that anger isn't always logical or justified, remember, emotions usually are not logical. It's very rare for them to be logical. And I'm laughing at my over-the-top furthest thing from rational emotions and emotional mood swings and accompanying reactions, especially, Sarah, when I'm hangry. Horrible. So, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said earlier, don't judge your feelings. Having an emotional reaction to something isn't terrible. I mean, you shouldn't go out and hurt somebody, right? Like, you shouldn't do anything like that. But because you're feeling emotional, don't judge it. Don't consider it bad. Sometimes we're overly concerned about our husbands or our boyfriends, our loved ones on the inside, that we don't say the things we want or need to say, or we don't do the things we want or need to do for ourselves. So it might not be a bad thing. Like, I had a girlfriend that texted me the other day and she's like, we're in such a fight. I'm over him. I'm done. I'm so pissed off. And I was like, look, here's your silver lining. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because in the past we have had conversations, and I've done this myself. You tiptoe around him. You tiptoe around his emotions. You don't want to piss him off. You don't want to add stress to his already stressful life. You don't want to inconvenience him more than he is in his already convenient situation. But you're also biting your tongue to the point where sometimes you can create a little resentment, and resentment builds, right? And it could be the death of any relationship. So in these moments where you go through a little bit of an angry state, consider the silver lining. Consider it not being a bad thing, kind of a good thing, that you're at the point where at your wit's end and you're going to say what you need to say. Now, sometimes in anger, things come out the wrong way. So you might want to think before you speak, but allow the anger to let you say things that you would normally push down or brush aside because you don't want to hurt his feelings, or you don't want to, like I said earlier, create more stress or inconvenience him, or seem overly dramatic or overly emotional, or make waves in your relationship. These are the times where you could actually say them. Again, with that disclaimer, you don't want to call names, you don't want to hit below the belt, you don't want to do things like that, but allow it to let you say what you need to say. Say what you've been wanting to say and shove it down. It could be that's why the exact root of your anger a lot of the time is because you haven't. You shoved it down, you shoved it down, you shoved it down, and now you just can't take anymore. So it's time to let it out. You get pissed off enough that it finally is going to come out. That's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing as long as you say it the right way. It's much easier to say it in anger than biting your tongue. Just be careful and make sure you're saying what you mean and not slinging insults, calling names, or being overly dramatic because you're mad. I've been there and I've done it, and I know my husband. He listens very closely to the words I use. Even though I'm one of those people that I'm like a very creative person, I live for metaphors, and I can be very overly dramatic, and I can cut you with my words if I want to. Even though I don't mean them, I'll use some sort of crazy analogy or metaphor that's over the top. Like, I remember the one that's sticking out in my mind, and this didn't happen with Adam, this happened with like an ex-boyfriend years and years ago. And remember that song that was by, what was that group? Oh my God. I could see I don't know. But it was like, the flame is burning red and now it's burning blue. And it was like, too late. It's too late to apologize. And I went into this and I was just trying to like hit him below the belt, like saying like, it used to be hot, but now it's so hot, I gotta get out. The flame was burning red, now it's burning blue. And he wrote back and he's like, fine, I'm done. And I was like, that's not what I meant. So the point is, I didn't make the point very well, but the point is just try to use words that you mean, because a lot of times they listen to the words that you're saying, and in anger, you're saying things that you don't mean. It's hard we've all done it. I just did it a couple weeks ago with Adam, but it's hard to dig out of that, okay? And then it kind of like breaks trust, and then it depends on your relationship. Some people can call each other an asshole and tell them to go fuck themselves, and their relationship is fine. Excuse the language. I didn't even realize I just said that. But, and you guys are fine, and you can make up the next day. That would cause a lot of tension for me and Adam, and something that we'd really have to work to fixing later on, because we try not to say things that we don't mean. He's much better at that than I am. But when I do say things that are over the top and dramatic, he will hold on to that. And so I try to avoid that. Know what works for you in your relationship. Get out your anger. Do not hold it in. You have to get it out. You have to release that energy, because if you hold it in or you brush it off, like I was saying earlier, then next time it happens, you're going to get more angry because it's building. Next time it happens, you're going to get more angry and you're going to explode, where this time maybe you were a little angry and you could get it out a little bit nicer. And it might lead to you walking away if you don't address the anger in the moment before it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So just think about that. Oh, this is so funny. So the day that I wrote this, which I don't remember what it was, I said, Megan posted in Invisible Shackles this morning. Go read it. Because I love where she said, know your husband, don't punish him. Would you lock him out of the house if you were fighting? She said, you don't need to fight dirty, but you do need to say what you want to say. So she posted on Invisible Shackles a couple of weeks ago, and maybe somebody here can point us there. But, and I asked her if we could put it in a blog post on the website, because it was very, very, very well worded, as Megan always is. But basically she was saying, like, don't act like a baby, right? So don't punish your husband. There is no room in a relationship for punishment. I think Stephanie, I stole that line from her. But make sure that you're saying the things that you need to say in anger, not in anger. When you're angry, not using words that you would use in anger, or doing things to punish him because you're angry. He's not your son, okay? He's your loved one, unless he is your son. And then I still think as an adult, because anybody that's in jail is an adult, right? We don't deal with juveniles. You probably still shouldn't have the reaction that you would to him as you would when he was a baby. But that's aside the point. Majority of our members are wives, girlfriends, fiancés, loved ones, and then we also have pen pals, moms, husbands, boyfriends. So just know that don't treat them as if they're a child. Do not punish them. There is no room for punishment in a relationship. say what you need to say, be firm, but also don't do things like hang up on calls, not answering the phone when you should, unless of course there's abuse and he's controlling and you need to not answer the phone because he's abusing you. Different. We'll go into that another time. But answer the phone, have the conversations, talk him through. Don't withhold money if that's your thing, unless of course, like I said, there is something like he's asking for much more than usual and maybe he's using or gambling or doing something crazy. But don't not do things because you're mad at him for something simple, not something that could be shady. You guys know the difference. And if you don't, talk to one of our volunteers. They will help walk you through that. But for argument sake, for this example, don't punish him. Okay, so how to handle the anger when you're in an anger warning, or the equivalent of a tornado warning with being mad. Hold on, I did this all the time to my iPad. There we go. Okay. Promise we're almost done, you guys. I need to be done because I haven't eaten dinner and I have a meeting in like an hour. Okay. First, oh, hey, Kat. Try to understand if there's resentment or disappointment fueling your anger. So maybe there were expectations, let's say, that your friends on the outside should have been more sympathetic to your situation and you're pissed off about that. Or how many of your feelings of anger are, ooh, this is a good one, directed to people who did not live up to your expectations during your time of loss. So maybe your parents, instead of supporting you, said you need to get rid of him, blah, 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 and they don't want to help you, and they're basically judging you and not supporting you in whatever way support looks like to you from your parents or your friends. And so they didn't live up to the expectations of what you thought or wanted them to do, so now you're angry with them. Or like I said, maybe your friend said she would drive with you to visit because it's a really long drive, and she's like, I don't want you to drive alone, but then she thinks about it and she's like, you know, who wants to be sitting in the car for 12 hours when I could be at home? I could be out with my other friends. So she disses you and doesn't live up to your expectations of going with her, which is pretty effed up for somebody to flake. But the point is, you're angry at her because she didn't live up to your expectations of her as a friend. Were there things that were expected to happen that didn't? Is your loved one on the inside not living up to how you expect him to be with you while you're grieving his loss? Okay, so is he not living up to the expectations that you have in your head of the way that he should be handling you while you're grieving the loss of him? Let that sink in and think about it for a minute. Also, I want you to ask yourself, were your expectations reasonable? What are possible reasons that he reacted as he did and is not living up to those expectations? So here's an example, because I had to go through this many, many, many years ago when I was first navigating these waters. My expectation was he should coddle me. Should not have used that word because it's thrown around way too much, too loosely, but I wanted him to know exactly what I was thinking, even though it was in my head, never said it. I wanted him to know exactly when I needed extra attention and love, exactly when he couldn't push me past, he loves to push me to reach my goals and outside of my comfort zone in a very life coach type of way. But I wanted him to know the times when he couldn't do that and I needed him to be my significant other, not my coach, which is usually most of the time, because significant others should not coach. They're too emotionally invested. Another story for another time, or lesson for another time. But as women, almost all of us, if not all of us, expect men to read our minds and know what we're thinking, or worse, know that we're saying something and want them to do the opposite. Oh, that's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. But you're really mad at him. Or he asks you to do something and you say, sure, but you don't want to do it. You guys know what I'm saying. So just remember, what are your expectations? Are they realistic? How is he not living up to them? And what are the possible reasons that he's reacting as he is reacting and not living up to your expectations? And also, you guys, if you have expectations, tell him what they are. How can he live up to expectations where he has no clue? He's not clued into those expectations at all. That's not fair, because you're holding him to a standard that he knows nothing about. It's cool to have your standards. It's amazing to have standards. It's amazing to have boundaries. But those expectations are muddy waters, right? You can expect him to do things from a relationship perspective, like trust you, like if the trust should be there, like support you in what support looks like to you. You cannot expect him to do things that are outside of his value system, or things that are just not, they don't jive with how he is and his personality. And not everybody is compatible. And maybe this is going to teach you that you got to check out, and this isn't the right relationship for you. Just because he's in there and you're holding him down right now doesn't mean you need to stay throughout. Because what's worse than being a prison wife all this time is being a prison wife all this time and discovering after you waited 10 years that even 2 years is too long to wait for somebody that you're not compatible with. Do all of the talking. Do all of the dirty, hard work now. Use this time to your advantage as a gift to get it all out of your system now, to learn that you're compatible. Because if you can get through this, the next part's easy, but you got to get through it. It's not easy. I'm not going to say that. I take that back. That's wrong to say, because I know a lot of people that say, almost everybody says that first year is the most difficult. So I don't mean that, but you guys know what I'm saying, my point that I'm making here. You can't control him. You can't control anybody. You barely have control over your own emotions. There's no way you can control somebody else's emotions. Remind yourself of that. You barely have control over your own emotions. There's no way you can control his. So look for ways to release the angry feelings in appropriate ways that will bring no harm to anybody, including yourself. So drinking, drugs, food binges, those are all off limits. Needless to say, right? But just should be addressed. Some people find that the release through physical activity, sports, physical labor, intense exercise may help in processing and releasing the anger. Others might find that in a creative outlet, right? We have people who write, who do art, who do music, and maybe that's the perfect way for them to express the things that are often inexpressible in words to them, is to draw it out. We also have, like I said, the new site's up and running, and we have a better blogging platform on there. So that's a way that I've always advised people to get on there and purge their emotions and get that anger off of their chest. Don't hesitate to reach out to others for support, because that's what we're here for. And lastly, if the anger is obsessive, or if there seem to be feelings of wanting to hurt yourself or other people, I need you guys to call 911 immediately, or reach out to one of the hotlines that we provide on our social media pages, because that is very serious and there is help, and nobody needs to die over or hurt somebody or go to jail over an angry fit. Okay, so know that if you are in crisis mode and you feel like you want to hurt yourself, or you feel like you want to hurt somebody else, please call 911. They will help you. Please call one of the hotlines that we provide. And if you need one of those numbers and you can't find a post, please reach out to one of our admin or volunteers. That's it, you guys. I will be back. I will be back sooner than later. I know I took a couple of weeks where I was off, but it was hard for me to get on. So, working on it. We will be there soon. I can't wait to show you guys a new website. You guys are going to love it. And remember, it's ours. So we're all going to work together and make sure that it's serving the needs of all of us. So you guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong. Thank you for all that love. Keep supporting one another through this journey, because you're one day closer to it all being over. One anger watch warning and mood swing closer to it all being over. Lots of love from my heart to yours. I will see you guys in the next video. But in the meantime, make sure you're communicating those feelings, expressing that anger in a healthy, creative way, and living life to its fullest and enjoying every minute of your relationships. Bye, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.